Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of PCP No Boosters Needed, the monthly podcast during which we talk about the latest PLC tournament. I am Juhadre, and I am happy to be joined by our regular crew, and that is Shazbot and Zeno and the Snurks. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
So, guys, how are we feeling today?
Man, I'm excited for the upcoming tournament.
Excited for the upcoming tournament. Awesome. Zeno?
I'm doing well. I plan to eat pizza, so it's a good day.
Nice. So, Shazbot, you said you're excited for the next tournament. Is this a regular amount of excitement and anticipation, or is there something specific that leads you to say such a thing?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of hype that has not been me that has been building up in the server as of late, particularly around Mike Beast and Filmy, and there's just been more buzz in general. Mike Beastum and the North Florida team has been doing a lot of scrims, and they've been scrimming with the other teams of the PLC, and I think that kind of practice allows the actual competition where you're playing for keeps, it makes that a lot more exciting. And there's rumors that some new tech is going to be pulled out for the tournament.
Yeah, I saw that. That was from Pies. He said he would, you know what, let's read it off because I do think that it's a fun little teaser for the upcoming tournament. It says, quote, "We might pull off some wild stuff next tournament as well," end quote.
I'm been kind of boggling my mind what that means, but regardless, that's got to be a good time.
I agree. You know, speaking of Pies, he's on Filmy, and Filmy was our first semifinals match that we're going to talk about today. It was Filmy versus Troll Tower, and Troll Tower was a new team. We hadn't seen them before. They made it up into the top four, and had a magnificent early game. Do you guys remember what the scoreline was by about 15 minutes?
I don't. There were so many exciting games that last tournament.
I literally just watched it an hour ago and I don't remember.
It was 7-1.
Right, because Jinx had that crazy early game, right?
Yeah, there was this gank that got countered, and Troll Tower's marksman, the Jinx, literally got a triple kill to start off the lane. And I watched over this the last couple of days, and Shazbot, like 3 times, you were like, Jinx should not be this strong this early in the game. Because let's, never do math on stream, but you can do math on a podcast. 300 gold per kill gives you 900, plus the bonuses for getting the double and the triple, plus the turret plates, and you had been in lane for a little bit, means that Jinx came back with a Yuntal Wild Arrows by 9.5 minutes.
Which is crazy. I mean, just the kills alone without the bonuses, like you were talking about, without the extra CS, it is just a pickaxe. That's 25 AD in your pocket.
Yeah, huge. And it was really fun to watch Troll Tower carry that momentum into the mid part of the game because their top laner was doing well. Especially because it was actually, hold on. Top lane did fine. It was the Vayne. Do you remember the Vayne top?
Mm-hmm. I do.
So burning flash level 1 in the jungle, but not dying and also not losing the lane, right? And so you would think that plus the bottom lane going crazy, incredible ganks from their jungler, like they really did have quite a stranglehold on the game for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, that game, the Vayne really played a cool and level head despite the lead that the enemy team had, and ended up being a part of some pretty big team fights.
Yeah, Vayne was strong in some pivotal moments, cleaning up a few fights. The unfortunate thing is, because bot lane was pretty doomed for Filmy, they ran their aggression up on the top lane, and so the Garen with a stride breaker and ignite against the Vayne was just so sad to watch sometimes, because Garen would flash Q so that no condemn and no tumble with the true vision from ignite. It was about 4 seconds and Vayne was gone. Even without jungle help, it got to a point where as long as Garen had flash, there was no way for Vayne to win that fight.
Totally. Which is tough. It's like the top laner island, but tournament edition, where it's like I've been playing a lot of games with my friends, and I have one friend in particular that just absolutely obliterates top lane, and then you look bot lane and it's like, sorry, we're trying. We can't keep up with you.
The thing that's also crazy about it, though, is that traditionally Vayne's a solid counter against Garen.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I wonder if the pick was chosen because it's a good counter or because the player was familiar with Vayne. They looked to have a decent understanding of what the champion is trying to do, but the way that the Garen played was just so oppressive, and especially once the jungle attention came up, I don't know. I would think it would have done better.
Yeah, I know it's the Reddit opinion to hate on marksman top laners, and I think there's a good reason for that, but I will say, basically for all of 2025, I have felt like marksman top laners have not felt that great. There's notable exceptions and like little points, but broad strokes, I really feel like I have not been scared as a melee top laner versus range. Like, it's like annoying for a couple lanes and then they just lose the game. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I'm kind of okay with that.
I mean, that's the whole point of ranged top laners, is to get that advantage early so that you can farm, get some items, and also poke the heck out of the opponent.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like they do that enough anymore, which is kind of nice. It feels like that I can pick someone that's really melee focused. I'm thinking like a Lowy or Shen and I'm fine. Like I don't care if they pick Kai'Sa or Vayne or these like really niche. I've seen Varus top lane a lot, and I'm like, okay, you've got big damage and an annoying ult, but then I just kind of get through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as the game has evolved, marksmen as a whole have been nerfed in their early game because they're supposed to scale, right? That's their job, is to make it to 3 items and then they're powerful. And so Riot has curbed their early game power. I think that's one piece. The other piece is they simultaneously have buffed the juggernauts and the tanks and the bruisers and fighters because they were dealing with the marksmen and mages on the top side. And so I think it was a compound fix that ended up ruining the experience of the marksman tops, like we saw with the Vayne and like you've been describing, Shazbot.
Right. And again, like, good riddance. I think it would be nice for them to be more viable. Like, I think Gnar is in a fine spot. His win rate does not reflect that, but I think Gnar is in a great spot. And he's technically mostly ranged, to the chagrin of many of the people I play against. Mm-hmm. So,
and dealing, percent max health damage while in ranged mini form makes him all the more formidable.
Well, exactly. But you would think that, the movement speed, the range, and the mobility that Vayne gets would translate similarly, but I've just not noticed that to be the case, Mm-hmm. So anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see, especially since you have some ranged, top laners designed for top, like Jace, Gnar, Teemo, compared to these ADCs. I wonder if it has more to do with their strength coming from ability upgrades. While items are nice, they do get more from abilities and level ups than I would say ADCs get, because ADCs are so item dependent.
Yeah, and Jace is in a fine place, so you might be onto something there.
Just got a buff.
Yippee. Love that, champ.
Love me some Jace.
Do you?
But, I'm an ARAM enjoyer, and when it's borderline impossible to miss an empowered Q, it's pretty fun.
Not to play against.
True. So I remember and have this note that there was a fight up on the top side where Troll Tower has the Poppy and goes for a wall slam on Geo's Orianna, but Geo flashes in a way that the Poppy smash just pushes him over the wall and he flashes away before he gets stunned. Do you guys remember seeing that?
Not off the top of my head.
All right. Well, tell you what, we've been talking as a staff, as a production team, about other content that we can make. And one thing that I think could be a really cool idea is finding these cool clips and highlights and then asking the player who did it to come on and talk about the moment, review it with us a few times, and have a nice little chat. We can put up some 15-second, 20-second shorts like that. And this is one of them because I don't think that it was on purpose, but it would be really cool if it was.
Yo, I love that idea. And not just that, like it'd be really cool to have those same like tournament players, not just have the clips from the tournament, but maybe have a clip that they like to explain the thinking of, and then kind of like, you know, deep dive into death, or deep dive into Mike Beeston in the jungle, or you know, like Calavir, or all these great players that you know, like it would be fun to kind of to follow them a little bit, like we do in the, you know, LCK or whatever, LCS.
Yeah. And what we could do is we could make a compilation video of like cool moments from players, highlighting awesome moments from them, upload it to the channel, and then we could make a video of those players reacting to that like compilation of the moments.
And another instance that we've already discussed but would definitely be on there is that triple kill for the Jinx at the beginning of our game, because holy cow, it was awesome to watch.
Totally.
So our semis, again, Filmy versus Troll Tower. The win did go to Filmy again, and I don't think we can ever talk enough about Filmy's mid laner Geo, because it was on Geo's back that Filmy was able to get back into this game in which they were so behind. The way he piloted his champion, the way he threw ultimates where he did, just completely turned it around, and he saved another game for them. And that's like 3 in a row in 3 months.
Yeah.
Hey, anything else about our semifinals, guys?
Not off the top of my head. It was pretty entertaining to go back and watch it, though.
Agreed. And August in particular, I think, has the most excitement around every single game. Normally, I'll just watch the playoffs, our semis and finals, and prepare for this, but I am watching through the entirety of August, and I was reminded that Calavir wasn't on Team Unknown this last go around. He was on Roost, right? And they were our first game, and that was fun to watch.
Yeah, seriously. And it's been that way. I want to say the 2 tournaments before that, you know, I feel like the quality of our games are just going up and up. So some good stuff.
It's all those scrims and the trash talk in the server. I'm loving it.
Seriously though, like I feel like we're not just getting like a higher quality of player, like people are getting better at the game, but I also feel like that there's like a certain level of like respect and hype that is brought to the tournament. And I think that it's a weird balance to have a lot of fun and also take it really seriously. But I think we're kind of hitting it as a community, and I really, really appreciate that. Like I see it coming through the players.
I agree. So our finals, Filmy, as we knew, versus What the Heck is a Lozenge?
I love their name, Phil.
And I remember when we were recording July, we talked about how exciting all the new names were. Like we've got the Short Bus Dojo, and you know, What the Heck is a Lozenge? I'm looking over here, the Durian Defenders. You know, just these silly fun names that are just so creative, and I think add on to the excitement, because Fartman. Yeah, it was Fartman as well. You know, just, you know, waiting to hear the caster say something so absurd. Yeah. It's a good time.
Totally. And we're going to get increasing amounts of Bart Simpson level jokes as we continue this tournament.
So I want to tell you guys before we get to our finals, the first tournament I cast officially was in 2017, and there were 2 teams in particular that stand out. The one was the Bumbling Cows of Demacia.
Okay.
Great name.
And then it was Mike, don't name your 5's team Mike Young. And that's an homage all the way back to one of the first casters in season 1 and 2, Joe Miller, who, you know, when you're announcing yourself, usually it's like Freak. When he was casting, he was David Freak Turley, right? Or Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler, or Isaac Azael Cummings Bentley. You know, that's how you would announce it. And so they would call him Joe Miller. And so he released some meme that was "Don't call me Joe Miller," right, or something like that. And they're anyway, it's just an homage all the way back to that, and I thought it was really, really funny. And it's that level of creativity that makes me excited to see more teams join up, and it's especially fun to try and say it quickly as the game is going on.
Yeah, or absolutely Google how to say lozenge before the game starts. Couldn't be me.
Well, tell you what, that game was different from our semifinal, and I found a pattern for Filmy. Whenever we watch them in the semifinals, they play this really measured, slow, calculated game, typically because they are behind. But then when they reach the finals, they just let it go. And that was exactly what happened in August. This game was so much crazier than the semis, and I don't understand what the difference was. But it'll be interesting to see if the same thing happens, if Filmy makes it into the semis again, and if they do the exact same thing. Because, like I said, it's been the last 2 or 3 tournaments where they struggled a bit in the early game of their semis, win, and then get to the finals and just slap. And I don't understand it.
Yeah, and I almost apologize for bringing it back up, but this is what's like got me like reeling about their comment about we got stuff cooking. Is it like, because it could be something as small as, oh yeah, we've worked on our fundamentals and we're not going to lose our early game as much, or it could be something more insane that's like, where are these people going? There's 3 people mid lane. Like, huh? It's when a winning team, a team that consistently comes back and plays well, says we got something cooking, it's like, huh? Okay, yeah. but like what? Because it also could be something that they play 2 games and then people pick up on too quickly and they lose their edge. But we won't know until we see it.
Yeah, it's like the fact that the Oreo is one of the greatest cookies ever, right? Pretty much anyone can agree, right? Oreos are good, but then they come out with the Cinnabon Oreo, and it's like, okay, but Oreo, you were already good. Yeah. And then totally. I got home from a business trip, and what's on my desk? Holy cow, Reese's Oreos.
Oh,
yeah. But Oreos were already good, and so maybe that's what you're trying to say, right, Shazbot? Is the team that's already winning is like, hey, we're gonna do something else.
Well, and also like you could get a chocolate Oreo, and you're like, okay, this is just not great because it's already chocolate. Or it could be like what was the one I had that was crazy? Like the Post Malone Oreo with the caramel in the middle, and it was like, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna be able to look at Oreos the same way again. Right? Are we gonna get I'm not gonna be able to look at Filmy the same way? Like when they draft a Melio, am I going to be like, it's Melio top? I can't believe it. You're going to be like, okay, they've just kind of fixed themselves up a little bit,
Right.
So Melio top though, come on.
We'll experiment. Zeno, put that on your list.
Okay,
sounds good.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about is on the side of Filmy, Geo played Hui this game, and I think Hui's damage is kind of silly because I watched him ult and then hit 2 other times a Nico that took almost no damage, and then assassinate someone with a single severing bolt from like a 3rd health. It was weird. They've caught on.
Yeah. No. Hui has been an absolute terror lately. In a lot of the games that I've played, I've seen more Huis than like a specific marksman in the bot lane. And I would not be surprised with our heavy control mages to see. I'm just going to call it out right now. I think for our September tournament, we're going to get 100% Hui pick ban.
I respect that.
We don't have a patch between now and then, do we?
No, but a patch just dropped, and oh my gosh, spoiler alert! Guess who's on it?
So true. Okay, I've been outed as someone who does not read the patch note on release.
I only look at them when we're talking. I'll be honest.
Okay, let's definitely put a bookmark in that we need to talk about Hui's changes in the patch notes at the end.
Yes, for sure. So another thing that drew a lot of attention was the lozenge team. It's not lozenge. We talked about this on stream. It's what the heck is a lozenge? So we can't call them lozenge. Anyway,
right.
WHL picked Nasus to go top. And one of our clips that our our marketing guy, Comic Crash, put out was the discussion that Shazbot and I had about, is Nasus actually a scaling champion or a mid-game champion? Because when you level that W, that Wither, it ruins people's days.
Yeah, I play Nasus actually quite a bit personally, and I'm on Team Shazbot with that. I do feel Nasus is a mid-game champion.
Well, I'm getting radicalized, y'all. Like, I don't think it stops at Nasus anymore. I'm beginning to say that Smolder is a mid-game champion. And
Agar is also strong mid-game.
I believe that, but probably less so than the other two.
Oh, yeah.
I'd really like to see do a deep dive of these champions. But yeah, since we're talking about Nasus in particular with this, yeah, I think we saw it, right? If I remember correctly in this game.
Yeah, he was behind a little bit because he was fighting Gragas, right? So they were literally trading mana in the top side of the map. They weren't even dealing damage to each other. It was really funny. But then around 17 minutes, he just bonks 2 turrets and then literally makes someone stop moving with a Wither and bonks them too. Yep. And it gets to the point where no one member of Filmy can handle the Nasus. It's always 2 or more, and he still almost gets away with what he was trying to do and makes it a 1-for-1.
Yeah, Nasus's power spike is once he has a Sheen, and also once he has level 6, because level 6 cuts his Q cooldown in half.
Yeah, I really liked that change way back when. That is when Nasus became the mid-game champion officially.
Yep.
So, in addition to the Nasus, the other thing about WHL that I liked was how competitive they were up until the start of the end game. We had a 7-1 swing for Troll Tower, right? And then Filmy came back. In this game, WHL stayed pretty close to even almost the whole game. And it wasn't until 20-ish minutes I remember this. I called it out in the cast and I rewatched it. At 27 minutes, they went after the Baron, and Filmy had 27 kills. So, like, there was just so much fighting. It was constant, and, you know, WHL did a good job staying even. They took turrets, they took objectives, they took fights, and it was just so much chaos and carnage that if you're looking for an entertaining game, this is definitely one to go back and watch.
Yeah, totally. I remember how I was feeling during that game. Because, you know, relatively long tournament, you know, very high octane, but you just had a lot to watch that game. That was there was things to pay attention to. But yeah, really, really good game, really good series, just the entire tournament.
Yeah, it was also one of the longest because Shazbot, you and I were the only 2 casters that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So by the end, I've known you long enough and I've done this enough with you that I could tell at the end you were just like, dude, can someone just end it, please? you were running out of steam. But, you know, we could almost see it in the players as well with the way they were taking fights and setting things up. They were drained because they had played all 6 games.
Yeah. 100%. And I think, you know, I don't want to ever discount the effort that the players put in. Like it's tiring casting, but like these guys played all these games because in their downtime, they've got to be thinking about what to do with the next tournament. You know, all I need to do is like, you know, get some water, eat a snack. And then I'm like, all right, let's do the next one.
Right. Yeah, they did great. And troopers, everyone, you can't see it or hear it, but we're clapping for our players. You guys are amazing. So then our finals, drumroll, went to Filmy. Congrats to them. They became a 3-time champion, I believe.
Yeah, totally. Dominant.
3 or 4.
Pretty crazy.
Well played to all of our playoffs contenders, and what the heck is a lozenge, especially for making it to second place in August. We hope to see all of them in September, which, by the way, will be on September 20th. At 1 p.m. Pacific time. Ooh, hey, actually, you know what? There was a vote to possibly make it earlier. We will confirm, but what you need to do, really, is find us on YouTube, because admin always gets the stream set up, and check on Battlefy, all right? So those are the places where you can find to sign up and to watch is YouTube and Battlefy. So go check there. It's on September 20th. I'm pretty sure we're looking 1 p.m. Pacific. If it's wrong, I sincerely apologize. But look before the day. Don't trust me.
Do your own research.
Absolutely. Alrighty, guys. So now we're at the point of the show where we will go over our patch, the latest one that dropped 25.18, and talk about a few of the changes that are relevant to the PLC. And I found 4 that I think are worth talking about. But I do remember, Zeno, you saying we need to put a bookmark on the Hui. He is on the list, but he's last on the list.
Okay, sounds good.
So the first thing is Yunara. Yunara was available for the first time in August, was played multiple times, and is in our patch having just gained some buffs. So let's talk Yunara first, and we'll move on from there.
She was 100% pick ban in the tournament, wasn't she?
That sounds right.
Because she was banned a lot. I remember that.
If you look, though, Yunara's kind of interesting because she had nerfs, but then hotfixed buffs midway through the patch.
Not interesting.
She's a very interesting champion because she had a relatively low win rate when people were first picking her up, but then grew to like an incredibly high win rate after like 20 or 30 games, kind of similar to Briar, but with a higher win rate with more experience, which is definitely where I was, worried about buffing her because newer players were definitely not grasping her, even though her kit is relatively simple.
I remember Zeno and I talked about Yunara quite a lot before she came out, and we were both afraid that her release, she would be quite broken.
Mm-hmm.
And in my eyes, the reason she isn't is no one is building any ability power on her.
Yep.
When I played her just in practice tool and stuff, if you get Gnasher's Tooth, it changes everything. That in Ginsu's just ruins people's days. You deal so much more damage.
Yeah, I get 3 crit items and a Gnasher's, and it's kind of insane.
I think the big thing that people are running into though is that first item slot is super critical. I remember a lot of people debating on whether or not to go Hurricane like at all. And I don't think I ever heard the end of the conversation. I always heard a lot of arguments. It's really, really hard for me to comment because by far and away, my worst role is marksman. I am just, there's something in my head that is not marksman coded. So I'll just kind of nod and parrot the things that I've heard from other people. But unfortunately, the conclusions I make are usually wrong about marksman because I still don't know how to play them very well.
So 2 things about that. Number 1, did you intentionally say it's critical?
Yeah, totally.
Got it. Okay. And number 2, I think Hurricane is it's a what's the word I'm trying to superfluous item on Yunara. Your Q and your ultimate already give you the spray. So right. Why are you gonna? You're clearing the wave instantly when you cast Q. So I understand the attack speed and the crit, but at that point, I think you're better off with any of the other items because you're getting something you just don't need.
Yeah, and Riot's been on this path to like enable more AP or AD options on characters. Mordekaiser is, I think, someone who's been slipping under the radar. As his AD changes are a lot better than I first considered. I know we saw him in our PLC tournament, but for what passives would you like to see from items that you can use well? And I don't think that we're seeing that with like Blade of the Rune King, which we see a lot of Blade of the Rune King on Yunara.
Yeah, which is interesting because it doesn't have any crit on it. It's on hit and lifesteal. I still haven't figured out why that's the item that everyone's rushing.
Yeah, that and Kraken Slayer.
I don't know. I don't get it. But they're also similar to you, Shazbot. I mean, it's not my worst role, but it's a role I don't frequently play. And so there are certain things that just don't click with my brain. But my testing says building AP will make her a lot stronger.
I can mess around and come back to y'all with a mathematically correct build.
Nice.
quick tangent on that, because I really think that there is some benefit from knowing the numbers, even if you're not necessarily picking the numbers. Like watched a video that I really enjoyed about how to maximize Jin to deal the most damage, even if it's like a terrible build. And that build is really funny because he ended up maximizing the damage on his traps. Anyways,
Are you talking about Harold NA?
I believe that's the right one. Whoever it is, big shout out. Really, really cool. I enjoyed the video. But anyways, I think that those are really useful because even if you're not picking the highest potential DPS, knowing why you're not picking the highest potential DPS because of X, Y, or Z is really important, and I think can expand your appreciation and piloting of a champion.
I'm going to extend this tangent a little bit, and it will be quick.
Sure.
Jin is not on our list, by the way. This is just an interesting thing I saw. So, have you seen the every auto attack empowered Jin build?
No, I don't think so.
Sundered Sky gives you an increased damage first shot. Eclipse gives you an empowered second shot. Kraken Slayer gives you a third, and then Jin's fourth shot.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
That's great. So you're just going through and making sure every shot is a special shot.
Yep. I haven't done
That's
it.
terrible.
I saw a video exists. It does sound terrible, but it's out there. So if anyone, you know what, we'll put that on the list to try in some of our other content things here.
I've also been having a lot of fun with experimental hex played on Mordekaiser, as an aside.
That's what I was referring to. That item is ridiculous.
Yep.
Okay. So then our next champion is Amumu. And I like Amumu in our tournament. He's one of those junglers that if we need a substitute or, someone is just starting in the competitive space, we see a lot of Amumus. And what they've done here is they have reduced the cooldown on Bandage Toss in the later game, and they've reduced its mana cost. So we should be seeing a lot more bandages and stuns and plays being made by Amumus in our tournament.
I'm pretty happy with that change. Sorry.
You're all good. I wonder if that'll push him towards more of a support role, because support Amumu is fairly good already, if I remember correctly, and having a lower mana cost does not scream jungle change to me.
You're right, because with your jungle item, you get a lot of regen anyway.
Right.
Huh, interesting.
It technically costs more at first rank, but that's kind of negligible.
Yeah, considering it then goes completely stagnant. It's just 50. It's 50 mana every time.
Yeah, I've personally been a fan of Amumu for a while. I like how the thing that's nice about Amumu, going off of your point of him being beginner friendly, is even if you fall behind on him, or even if, you just are struggling a bit in the jungle, the good news about Amumu is you can always remain useful thanks to the CC.
Yep. I love champions like that. They're some of my favorites because I often go behind. So like Maokai and Nautilus and Malphite, Ornn, Amumu. These are Juhadra champions.
We got to view a coach.
Heck yeah, we do. Next up on our list is Ashe. And Ashe got an AD growth buff. Are you ready for this?
Go for it.
Half an AD per level increase. Okay? That's going to give her 9 additional attack damage by the end of the game.
Yep.
Okay. So at level 4, she's getting the infamous 2 AD buff. I mean, it's not nothing, especially because it's amplified by her Q. But, okay.
And we see a lot of Ashe.
Yeah.
You see a lot of Ashe. I don't know. It's interesting to me because Ashe is definitely like the most pillow fight of any of the marksmans.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was you, Ben, that was like, man, every time I play Ashe, I feel like I'm the assist king because everyone else gets the kills. And I've been thinking about that since then because, you have a lot of ways to initiate the damage. You have a lot of ways to hold them down, but you don't have anything that Jinx Rocket explodes or third Silver Bolt from Vayne or something like that. There's no boom, you're dead damage. Ashe is very much like pew pew pew.
Mm-hmm. Especially because she can't crit.
Unless you play her AP like me.
Oh my gosh. That big old buff to the ultimate not too long ago with the AP ratio feels good, right?
Yep.
You remember when it used to be like a...
Go
ahead.
yeah, in all seriousness, though, when it comes to Ashe, the thing is she's trading off damage for how much built-in utility she has. I would argue that, especially at high level, Ashe's E can be one of the strongest abilities in the game if you send it to the right spot.
Totally. I kind of miss Teleport Ashe.
Yeah. Teleport Ashe. Oh, what a world.
At least LCS, I remember they definitely played that on stage, but yeah.
So now we get to the Hui. Now, buckle up, everybody.
Yep.
His passive got an additional 5% AP ratio. His WQ, which is the path that makes him run faster, got 10% higher movement speed and a percent per 100 AP buff as well.
Okay.
In addition to this, all of his E spells, the subject Torment, got 5% increase on AP ratios.
Okay, you've told me 6 things that have been increased so far.
Mm-hmm.
But is that it?
What?
There is no but. That's it.
That's it.
Okay, no, never mind. We're getting a 200% pick ban for Hui. This because I did not hear. Wait, like no, I'm chill with like support Hui getting buffed and all that. You know, maybe open up a little play style, this or that. Mm-hmm. But Hui's already a terror in the bot lane right now, and they're just giving him additional utility. Nah, that's not okay. We have too many control mages in the PLC already.
Yeah, so I'm with you. We already see a lot of Hui. We have Geo and Death, who in particular enjoy piloting the champion. With all of these buffs, I think, you know, I am happy it's on his E that he got all the buffs and not his Qs. Like, that would be a problem, I think. But it's on his crowd control spells that were probably lacking in flat damage to begin with. And so, I don't know. I don't think it's too bad, but the fact is now the combo is going to be 5% more dangerous, 10% more dangerous because he's landing these extra spells, and it's a lot.
Well, not to mention his passive, because like one of the biggest reasons why he's a terror right now is I'm trying to remember his combo. He uses the Jaws E to close you in, and then the big path, and that triggers not only the damage from the flaming path, but also his passive. So we're getting 2 buffs there, and then you just like as soon as you're chipped down far enough, he just has to find a lucky severing bolt to finish you off. Like I don't think the champion is that bad conceptually, unlike some of the friends that the company that I keep. I do think that when you're seeing only 4 or 5 of the 9 spells that he has, there's a problem.
I could see that.
Well, I decided to look this up on u.gg out of curiosity, and right now, he is the number 1 win rate bot lane champion in Emerald Plus.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not surprised in the slightest at all. You heard her here, 100% pick ban.
I agree with you. I think that he and Yunara definitely going to be on that list.
Yeah, but like, here's the problem. If you're playing Yunara, what do you do? Like, I think Yunara is like really, really strong, but I think I don't know if you guys are familiar with the card games, but there's like a tier 1 deck versus a tier 2 deck. A tier 2 deck could beat a tier 1 deck, but it's usually not that great. There's this concept in card games called a tier 0 meta, where something is so unbelievably strong that you expect every single game to have this certain style of deck, and every other deck has to dictate whether or not they can play against it. Now, in League, we have bans, so you can just ban Hui. Otherwise, your bot lane has to center around the idea of either having Hui or not having Hui. And I think tier 0 metas are very interesting. Like they can pull out some stuff, but they get boring fast. They get very fast. Thanks if you're like that. You know,
it goes right back to the Juggernaut patch in 2015, where Mordekaiser was, I think, 94% banned at Worlds, and then Gangplank was 100%. No one wanted to deal with it, but you had to ban it on red side, right? Blue side, you never banned it.
Right.
You had to ban it on the red side because you can't let blue team have it. And so you're right. It does get boring really fast because you know that it just dictated by the power of the champion. Red side bans will always be the same.
Now, here's I'm going to immediately be contrarian to myself, pull out some admin anonymous a little bit, and say, I also think that if you have some tech knowing that there's going to be Hwei bot lane, picturing like a Rengar bot that just is able to get on top, that's a terrible idea, but something like that idea.
But you're trying.
Yeah, that's specifically predatory against the idea that the enemy team will have a Hwei is really interesting to me. I am really struggling to come up with anyone that even remotely does that. But yeah, wow, I'm really surprised they're buffing him.
Yeah. Wait till you read the reason why. That'll give you something to think about.
Yeah. I will be home with the pitchforks and torches.
That'll do it for champions on our list, everybody. There are some other adjustments in. I highly recommend you take a look there. The leagueoflegends.com/ I'm not going to read the rest of that, but there is a patch notes section. So go click on that, give yourself a look, give yourself an edge. And to wrap up this episode, our esteemed Xeno and the Snurks has been invited to play the new fighting game Riot has released called 2XKO.
Oh yeah, and I've been playing it a lot.
So what?
Who you been playing with? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
So at first I was rocking Braum and Vi, but I'm finding that Braum is a little bit too slow for me to work with well. So I'm currently in the process of swapping him for Darius. So I'm thinking Darius Vi for the time being until they add additional champions I'd be more interested in. And then I know that it's already been leaked that Teemo's being added to the game, so I'll have to see how his move list is.
Wait, how? What? Teemo?
Yep.
It's going to be similar to how Ari is in the game.
I don't think so. I think Teemo would be more similar to a trap placement champion that also has some long-ranged abilities like Jinx.
Huh.
Right. Ari doesn't give the impression at first, but Ari's very much like a rushdown style character. Yep. Anyway, yeah, there's some really fun combos in the game. The game feels so good.
Now, Xeno, what the folks at home need to understand is that you are not just a fighting game player. You're an enthusiast, and we're even a competitive Smash Brothers player, right?
Yeah, I used to compete competitively at locals and Smash tournaments and do pretty well at. I'd gone like top 8 at like tournaments before. I'm not like, best in the world or anything like that, but I can definitely hold my own, and I've entered my fair share of tournaments and different games over the years, and definitely team-based fighting games are some of my favorites. I've been a big fan of the Marvel series for a long time, and yeah, I very much enjoy the meat and the potatoes available in fighting games, really digging into them, spending hours in the lab coming up with combos and understanding my characters. It's just something I love to do. So yeah, I've been having a ton of fun. Really, really fun game. I like how they found that solid balance between making it so that you have good combos that last long, while also not making it too input intense so that people that are more fans of League of Legends getting into the fighting games have an easier time getting into it.
So one of the other questions I have is, because it is based on League of Legends champions, thematically, how do the champions feel? Do they ring true to their League of Legends roots, or are they completely different, like we saw in Arcane, where some of them just have completely different motivations and lore had to be changed to match the show?
Yeah, so lore's not really a focus of the fighting games. I would say some of the characters feel very true to how they are in the games, while others don't. Like, for example, Blitzcrank very much feels like Blitzcrank. He's trying to pull you in, get close to you, make sure that he stays on your face. Alawi's another good example. She's summoning tentacles, and she's, instead of trapping you near your spirit, she's trying to trap you up against the corner and just comboing you with her tentacles. It's pretty crazy. But then other champions, like Braum, doesn't feel like Braum in the games. Yeah, he has some defensive things to block projectiles, but he has, like, command throws, and I get it. You gotta make adjustments so he's not as much of a support in a fighting game, but he's definitely much more of a I'm gonna get in your face and fight you type character, which definitely isn't what he's like in League. Like, yeah, not so much peeling or anything.
Interesting.
Oh, I think another good example of that, Yasuo, I don't think really feels like how he is in League either. Yeah, Yasuo, he has a lot of range in that game, which is definitely supposed to be part of what holds him back in League, but it is what it is. You gotta make different playstyles, you gotta make characters interesting. But thematically, they definitely feel like their characters. It just doesn't always match League gameplay, so don't go in expecting your character to play like how they do in League, but thematically, it will still feel like that character.
Very good. Any other thoughts or questions about 2XKO before we wrap up, guys?
Yeah, just go ahead, apply for it. They're planning to keep it, even though it's in closed beta right now, they're not planning to shut it down again, so it doesn't hurt to apply for it, and they'll let you know if you get in via email, and yeah, hop in and have fun.
We gonna expand out to a 2XKO tournament? Is it good esports watching?
I mean, I think most fighting games are great esports watching, and I would 100% make sure I entered a 2XKO tournament if we hosted one.
Well, everybody, the words of Xeno, an actual fighting game powerhouse here. His recommendation can't come high enough. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining me here on PCP.
Absolutely.
Yep, always happy to join.
And viewers/listeners, thank you. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back after our next tournament, which is on September 20th. Don't forget that October 18th has also been announced. Both of those dates are available for sign up on battlefy.com. We stream on YouTube every month, so make sure and follow us there. We are also on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and don't forget to sign up and play, and we'll catch you next time.